everyone, I'm Brittany here with your art fail of the week, and this week I'm going to be painting the cover page of Proverbs. So I started out with doing a blue background, and I didn't immediately have a solid idea to paint this page, so I kind of just went with the fact that I wanted to use blue as the background and went from there in figuring out what I wanted to do. Since a lot of this book is about wisdom and the guidance that King Solomon gave his son, I was trying to come up with some ideas for that. Originally, I did some butterflies, which you'll see in a second after I finish this kind of marbling effect that I'm doing with the blue. I added in some lighter blue and like a purpley color in the background. And then here I go in trying to do some butterflies, and actually managed to get pretty decently far on the butterflies before I decided to scrap that idea. And I looked up different animals that you think of when you, like, with the word wisdom, what kind of animals people depict with wisdom. So a few of those were elephants, and then there's owls, and giraffes was one of them too, which I'm not, in my mind, that doesn't seem what I would think of, but I know elephants are supposed to be really smart, but I went with owls. So you'll see here I'm basically going back over my butterflies that are still slightly wet acrylic paint, so it does have a purpley hue still, almost like an underpainting color. And I go in with some tan and just do my outlines of some owls, one like in flight and one kind of looking at you with just his face. And I did use some references from Google, but I made it my own and just referenced like how their faces looked, and I think it was mostly off of like the snowy owl, getting that white face and where it's the whitest feathers, but still leaving some of that purpley tan mix that I made as the base outline, and working from there. And here I'm kind of almost using a stippling effect with the paint to create more of a feathered look on his wings. And also you'll see on the one facing you, his like chest feathers, I tried to do the same kind of effect so that it looked actually feathered. Once I got the bodies to how I wanted them to be, then I added in the facial features like the eyes and the beak. And on this particular owl, the beaks aren't that bright orange or anything. They're more of a gray or tan, or they're a more base earthy color than like a bright yellow beak or bright orange or even orange tinted. They blend in more with their body. And I also added some shadows in just to give the features a little more 3D effect. I don't have a lot to say specifically about this book, besides the fact that it covers a lot of Solomon's wisdom and him passing that on to his son, and it's very repetitive, but in a way that then it kind of sinks into your brain a little more, that it's almost like repetitive but said in a different way, of different life advice basically, and things you should follow for you in your path of your Christian life path. And I've actually gotten behind in how many books I've actually read out of the Bible this year with actually painting that first page. So I have quite a few that I haven't done yet on my channel. Both First and Second Kings I did read, but I haven't painted yet. And a lot of it is because I don't have a clear picture of what I want that page to be yet. So whenever I get that creative spark of, yeah, this is actually what I want this page to be, that I'll finally do those or reread them and then do them next year or something. But I'm very happy with how my Proverbs page turned out when I went a different direction with these owls. I like them a lot better than where I was starting out going with my butterflies. And I hope you also enjoyed that shift in where I was going with this artwork. For the lettering, I debated between using a marker or like a white gel pen and actually going in with paint. I was a little scared to do a smaller text for this one because I decided to keep it under that owl's wings and kind of smaller on the page, which I kind of had more space on the other pages I've done. So I was a little scared, but I went in with a smaller brush and then just kind of went a little bit lighter on the paint, and then went over a second time to get that more stark white and not have to worry about it like messing up because it was a lighter white underneath. So I freehanded this text instead of using a stencil or just writing it out, because your handwriting is a lot easier to control than a paintbrush sometimes. And if you'll see under Proverbs that I'm painting right now, I did have to use some water to wipe up some of the blue paint that did get a little out of control and covered that first title, but it turned out okay. It almost looks like a watercolor effect, but I wouldn't advise you using too much water on your Bible journal pages if they're like mine, where it's actually not very thick paper. And now I decided there needed to be something a little bit more, and I decided to just put some little dots, white dots, all over the background. I was gonna do like a night sky, but then they started getting too uniform almost, so they look more like snow, which is fine because if it was supposed to be a snowy owl, they're gonna show up in the winter anyway. And this is the final product from far away, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if you want to check out the previous pages I've done, I'll link a playlist, and I'll see you next week in the next video.